Well, there have been 1 or 2 days recently when I've been either too breathless or too depressed to make any videos or upload any videos. I doubt if anyone noticed. um, Lots going through my head today. Like an article about how we're all still being brainwashed, and social media is largely responsible. I did find that very, very interesting. I've been left-wing all my life. As I've said in other videos, I don't believe there is a left or a right-wing anymore. It's all one. But I had been left-wing all my life. Socialist. And I was in a number of groups of that nature, including radical feminist groups, who surely then were left-wing. They surely were in my past. And for minor disagreements, my comments would be deleted, or I would be thrown out of the group, or eventually I deleted them all and turned to the right wing. I suspect that was social media at work. I mean, probably those groups were incredibly heavily trolled, and probably the deleting and the throwing out were done by admin who were trolls. Planted trolls. Then after, I don't know, about a year on what was effectively the right wing, I discovered I had even more stalkers hidden in my friend list. I discovered it simply by deleting the vast majority of FB friends whom I'd never met and couldn't be certain of their identity. And after I'd finished my deleting, lo and behold, there were 88 people still there, without names and without profile pics, and whom I could not see. That's now reduced to, I think it's 45. They're still there, though. I'm afraid I deleted friends I quite liked, but they were relatively new friends. And one in particular had all of these invisible friends on his friend list. He appeared to be a devout American Christian, very caring, very concerned, caring for his parents, his elderly parents. But this is a persona you can invent on Facebook. He could have been none of those things. And in the end, he had to go. Every single invisible friend was a friend of his. So, not sure if it was Facebook's or social media's intention to turn me against all political parties. That only has to be done anyway if you think a little bit. That can be done just by the mere expedient of thinking. Yes. I also think that FB in particular helped to rig the 2015 British UK general election. By falsifying who was where in the ratings. You would be convinced, I was convinced that although UKIP of course could never hope to win outright, all the talk was of coalition governments, possibly made up of at least 4 parties, in which case UKIP could have got a say in how the country was run. And I am very much pro-Brexit because I see the EU as the first step towards the New World Order, which I do not want. I also don't want British laws made by Brussels. Thank you very much. Among many other things. I'm also old enough to remember how it was in the beginning, and how things were before there was an EEC, never mind an EU, i.e. better. That aside, I voted UKIP, and as somebody I met during this process pointed out, all I had done, if anything, was split the Tory vote. But it was FB which persuaded me that UKIP might get to have some kind of say. What did UKIP get? I think it was 1 seat. I think it was 4 million votes, but 1 seat. Owing to our ludicrous first past the post system, but anyway. I was also going to talk about text-speak, which as far as I can see is George Orwell's 1984 Newspeak, the object of which was to make sure that people could not communicate abstract ideas or complex ideas, and there would be no threat to the elite. So immediately, punctuation is out of fashion, grammar is out of fashion. If you're interested in either of those, you're a grammar Nazi, and woe betide you. If you point out that punctuation makes a huge difference in meaning, that's ignored, but it does. And of course, for a long time, everyone who had a mobile phone had to be in text-speak if they wanted to save money. I did it too. Are you okay became the letter R, the letter U, okay. And eventually, children were writing essays using precisely those abbreviations. Not sure if that's been stopped or not. But I was extremely pleased when free text came in and I could write in full sentences again. Now, however, we have autocorrect. Autocorrect has done more to destroy my spelling than anything else, ever. It makes me uncertain of my spelling. I spell a word correctly. Autocorrect corrects it to something incorrect. And eventually I have to stop and think, is this word correctly spelled or is it incorrectly spelled? Well, you could put that down to age and stress and all sorts of things. But I don't think so. I think it's autocorrect, which invariably corrects what is right to what is not right. And pretty soon, I write the word were, W-E-R-E. Perfectly good word. Autocorrect instantly corrects it to W-E'-R-E, as in we are. The apostrophe, for those of my generation will remember, in that word stands in for the missing letter A. That is its purpose. Well, I'm not going to say, if I'm trying to say, oh, we were bored, and it's corrected to we, W-E'-R-E, bored, suddenly the sentence reads, we are bored. It's a very simple example, but what we're left with is nonsense sentences, absolute nonsense sentences, made up words rather than the correct words, words you've never heard of in your life, because they don't exist even. And I'm sorry, but I do think the whole idea is to make us um, incapable of communicating with each other. I remember a rather vital message to my brother, in which suddenly the word Jessica appeared in the middle. Um, and it was a very emotional uh, message. It was important to our communication. What must he have made of the word Jessica in the middle of it? It's not only doing damage to communication in general, it's doing damage to relationships. And texts were particularly disastrous for that at the time when we had to use the new text speak because it saved money. The fewer words you use and the fewer letters you use, the less clear your meaning and the more potential for misunderstanding. It's it breaks up relationships, for God's sake. And all of this is perfectly in line with George Orwell's 1984. So anyway, long story short, by all means continue to call me a grammar Nazi, and I will remain proud to be one. Not the Nazi part, but grammar Nazi, feminazi. The misuse of the word Nazi is not too good, but guilty of caring about grammar and about feminism.